Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel. In this video, we are going to talk about Entity Framework Core or relationships, and that is one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many relationship using an Entity Framework Core or an SQL Server. So in this video, we are going to understand the relationship that we have, the three types of relationship that we have. We are going to understand them with practicals. So we are going to create a web API project, and that is what you're going to use to explain this. So let's get going. Now, first of all, let's try to understand what a relationship is. When you go to learn.microsoft.com, you have relationship defined as how two entities relate to each other. So when you talk about two entities, they are how two tables in database relate to each other. Okay, so in a table, you may have three tables connected together. You may have two tables also connected together. You may have several tables connected together by having a foreign key. Now, when that happens, there must be a relationship. And in this relationship, there are three types. We have one-to-one relationship. When you go down here, and you can see we have one-to-one relationship. And now here, one-to-one relationship have a reference navigation property on both sides. So it is from one entity to the other. We have many-to-many relationship, and that is, we have the last one as many-to-one or one-to-many. So this is many-to-many, whereby many-to-many relationships require the collection navigation properties on both sides. So this requires a collection on both sides. So this can be found in a collection in this table, and the same table applies to the other one as well. Okay, so we're gonna have a practical base with this. So for now, let's understand that when you talk about one-to-one, it means one entity is mapped to the other. Now when you talk about many-to-one or one-to-many, meaning one entity is mapped to many entities. So one can have many entities, or many entities can have one. And also when you talk about many-to-many, it means many can have many entities. So many entities can have many entities. Okay, if this doesn't sound clear to you, don't worry. With this example, you're going to understand this relationship, and these are what you need to base on to create your application in terms of database relationships. So let's get going. Now let's create a web API project here. So in here, you can see from the web API, if you don't know how to create a web API project, open launch of Visual Studio 2022, and when you launch it, the next thing to do here is you can now click on File and now click on New. So New, and go to Project, and now here you're going to create a web API project. So in this template, make sure you choose in a ASP.NET Core Web API. So click on Next, and I give it a name. Now as I record this video, the current version of the framework is .NET 7.0. So I have the list here, choose 7.0 and click on Create to create app. Now I have a default one here that is named as Demo. So this is what I have, this is a project that I have created. Now if I run this project, this is what I can see, or this is the output of this project. Let me put it over here. So you will say that is Swagger UI. Next we have this weather forecast as a default action method or default controller found in the API project. Alright, so now you can see that you have many-to-many, and you can see we have one-to-one and many-to-one or one-to-many. Let's first tackle one-to-many first, then we go to one-to-one and many-to-many. Okay, so what you're going to do here is we have to specify our connection first, because you know, since we are using EFCore, it means we have to have a database connected. So let's first install our Nuget packages. So right click on dependencies folder, is that a folder, and I go to manage Nuget packages. Now under here, under browse, I have installed them. So go to browse, and I try to install these packages. The first one that you need to install is Microsoft.Entity Framework Core. That's the first one. The second one here that you need is Microsoft.Entity Framework Core.SqlServer. And the last one is Microsoft.Entity Framework Core.Tools. So these 3 packages, that is what we need in order to perform these relationships. Okay, so once you have them installed, we can now close this, and now we need to set up our connection string. So we can do that in an AppSetting.json file. So click on this, and now I have the connection string over here, so I can just copy this and I'll paste it here. So with the connection string, this is what we give it. We call this connection strings, and now we open a bracket over here, as you can see. Now we give it a name as default connection string. Now data source here that we have is what? Local. So meaning we are going to have a local DB. So this is going to be a data source, or this can be a server. So let's set this as server here. So server is going to be local. Then initial catalog here is going to be what? EFCore relationship. Now this initial catalog is the same as database. So we can have a database name as EFCore relationships, and we can have this integrated security equal to true. We set this to true, and this pooling and trust connection. So we can take this off. This not actually necessary. We can take this off. Now trusted connection is true. Then we add trust server certificate. We set this to true. So the database that we're going to create here is called EFCore relationships. So let's see. Now go to SQL Server Object Explorer. Now this can be found under the Tools button. So click on that. Now go see we have. Let's see. That is a view rather. So click on View. And now when you click on View, you're going to have SQL Server Object. That is it. So click on that and reload this. So that is what we have. Now we open our server and a database. So you can see we have no database known as EFCore relationships. So by the time we finish our migration, we must have a database known as EFCore relationships. And Entity Framework Core is going to work on that for us. So by creating database and running the necessary queries for us in the database. Okay. So once you have a database connection set, you make sure you bring this comma to separate it. Now we can now copy this connection string name, that's the default connection. Now what you have to do here again here is we have to create our appdb context file. So that is what we're going to use to connect our database. So right click on the project, let's add a folder known as data. So add a folder known as data, and at this data we're going to pass in a class known as appdb context. So add a class, and the name of this class is going to be appdb context class. So appdb context. Now the full name here is application database context class, meaning it is creating a connection to a database for us, and also executing some queries or storing some table name that can be executed in the database by the Entity Framework Core. So appdb context, click on that, and now in that we have to specify our connections over there. So this is what you are going to create. So first of all, it has to inherit from db context. So db context. Now there is a default class, so as soon as inherit from it, control plus period, we have to import the Entity Framework Core, because it is part of that Entity Framework Core that we installed. So we're going to install that, and this error is going to be gone. Okay, so while it is gone, we have to create a constructor here and pass in our model. So right click on this, or control plus period. So let's go to generate constructor and pass in this option as a base class. So click on this. Now in here we have to specify our appdb context class. So db context class. Now it's going to inherit from a base class. Now once you are done, we have to specify so let's specify our product. So you're going to use a product and a category, also a size and a color, as to explain the one-to-one, many-to-many, and one-to-many relationships. So first of all, we are going to tackle one-to-many. So the first of all, what you have here, you can see we have a product. Now this is going to be a product class. Okay. Now the name that we are creating in database is product table. Now this product table is going to use this product class here, its properties, to set as a column name. This product hasn't been created yet, so let's copy this and create that. So Solution Explorer. Now in order to organize our work, let's create a folder. Now we name it as models because that is what the migration is going to need. So models to create the table. So click on models, and now once you create models folder, right click and let's add a class. Now this class is going to be this product. Now with the product, what are the properties that we are going to need in this product? So let's first set our ID. So we set our ID, name and price. So our product is having ID, name and price. Now you know when you use EFCore, as soon as a table or that is a model has an ID, definitely it's going to set that ID to a primary key. Take note, as you can see, as soon as you have an int ID, it's going to be used defaultly as what? A primary key. Now you're going to have name and you're going to have price. So with the primary key, it's going to set it to identity, maybe AppSetting and increment as 1 So meaning with the primary ID, you user do not have the right to pass in the value to the ID. So you wait, it's going to be assigned automatically. Okay, so that is what we have here as an ID. We have name and we have price. Alright, now the next thing to do here is we can now save this. Now in order to create a relationship, we said with the one-to-many, it exists between two entities. Product is one entity, so we must also create another entity that is known as category. So let's add a category class to the same models folder. So right click on this models and now go to class and let's add category. Now you have a category class. Now in the category class, let's see if we can have the category over here. So our category, we can just paste this here. Now you can see we have ID and name. So we have category ID and category name. So this property is going to set automatically as primary key. Okay, so with this, when filling data into this category, we have to just provide only the name, because with the ID it's going to be assigned as a primary key and assign an identity to it. That's a column identity, and this column identity is going to assign an auto increment, that is +1. Good. Now we have name. So when you check this, let's see. Now we can talk about one-to-many. So one category may have multiple or many products, isn't it? If we talk about electronics, and electronics, you see we have mobile phones, we have computers, we have other things as well. Okay, so when you have mobile phones, even 10 mobile phones in your product, they all belongs to what? And a category. So one category may have a lot of products. So that's why we say one-to-many, or many products may have only one category known as electronics. Okay, so let's create that relationship. Now in order to create that relationship, what is the first thing to do? We have to create the relationship by using a list and calling the same method in the other model. So to do that, we can now go to this product. Okay, so this product, we can copy the name as product. Now let's go to category and we can set up a new one. So in here, I just go in there and grab this, and under product category, I'll just paste this here. So this means that we can have a list. Watch here, you can see we have a list here. That is the type. So we have a list of product, and I will give it a name as product. Okay, now let's go to category 2 and see what we can actually do over there. So when you go to product, we have to create only one product. So we can add this under the product. So in here, we can add this. So you can see that we are not specifying a list here. So this means one product is going to have one category. Now in order to enforce a foreign key being created, we can now specify our category ID. If not, it's still going to work. We can decide to take this off, and this category ID is still going to work. But for us to get the better understanding, let's set this. So you can see in each product, when this table loads, we're going to have a category ID. So a product info and a category ID. Now this category ID, when you pass in as 1, we can pass in multiple products as category 1. Now when you go to category, you can see category 1 may have a different name. That's the name over here, and we can associate it to it. Saying this having a list of the product, it means many products here can have one category. Let's try this out and see what we are actually talking about. Okay, so to do this, we have to first create our or register our connection and perform database migration. So to register a connection, what do? We have to go back to the program.cs file. So click on program.cs file, and in there we can specify database connection, and we can do it by passing in this. So builder.services.addDB context. Now this addDB context is a class that you created that contains a database name. So let's see, we have multiple closing, so we can take one off. So we have this and that. So this has to be closed like this. Okay, and we have this over here. Okay, all right. So now in here, as you can see, let's control plus period. Now let's import models, because we have now created the product. So we have a product here, that's a relationship here. So one, and when you go to product, it's many. Okay, so one category to many product, or many products to one category. All right, so let's, in our program.cs file, we have now added our addDB context here, and now we set an option marked to use EFCore.SqlServer. So that is a package that we installed. Remember that we installed Framework Core, .SqlServer and .Tools. So we have this server being used, and now we get a configuration name or the connection string name from the AppSetting.json. Remember, the name here is default connection, so that's exactly what we are getting over here. Okay, so this is not important here. You can take this off. So let's save this. Now our connection is done. Now the next thing that we can actually do here is quite simple. We can perform our database migration. Now when you perform database migration, it's going to render the models in here, the models that we just created, that is a product and category, and create tables for them. So let's go up there and see what we can actually do. So to do that, once we have our addDB context class set, we have our product, that is a program.cs file, our class or our connection being set up over here, registered. We can now perform the migration. So let's click on Tools, now go to Nuget Package Manager and click on the console. And now in here, let me clear screen, CLS to clear screen. Now we can perform this by adding add, so dash migration. Then let's give it name as what. So create product and category. So product and category tables. Okay, so create product and category tables. Click on the enter, and if it's going to build this project, in case we have error here, it's going to tell us. So it's not going to perform the migration. It's going to stop on the road unless we fix that error. So let's wait. Now we say it is done. Now build started and here succeeded. And now to undo this action, use remove migration. So it means migration is done. Now if you actually check here, you see we have a name, that's a table name as category. That is the name of the migration that we created. Now the first table is called category. Aside from that, we see we have the second table as product. Okay, these are the various columns here: ID, name, price, and category ID. Okay, for product. Now we see there is a relationship. Now when you come down here, you see we have the primary key as this and the foreign key. So that is the foreign product and category as what? Category ID. So there is the foreign key known as, and it is assigned to a field known as category ID. So this then becomes what? A foreign key. Okay, aside from that, it creates an index. So as you can see, with the foreign key category ID, you can't repeat the category ID in the same table, but rather a product can have more category. So that's a category can have more products. Okay, so one category may have more products, and more products may have a single category. So that's what you can actually see here. Now we can also drop the table by using drop down, by using this down, and this is the name of the table, product, and the other one is category. So to update and run this query, you have to update the database. So click on the console and I'm passing update database. Now you can see this is defaultly done by the entity framework. So we need not to run these queries on ourselves in the SQL section, but rather we just have to apply migration and it's going to finish it up automatically. So if you actually check here within the update, you can see create table, product. These are the columns, the constraints as a primary key, and here as a foreign key. Now it has the next table too. So this is the next table, product. So you can see we have products here, and we may have the category also somewhere else. Okay, because we're going to create those two tables over there for us. So we have category here, and we have a product here. Now let's go to solution. That is the SQL Server Object Explorer. Let's refresh this and let's expand the last one, database. Next we have entity framework called relationship. So if we click on down tables, now you're going to see tables over here. So that's the two tables that we have, category and product. Okay, category and product. Now let's open them. So right click and go to view data, and now product to view data. Now you can see from here, when you go to category, let's first pass a default value. So you know, as I said, this ID is set as a primary key, so we can't pass any value, only the name. So let's say you can have electronics. Okay, now you can have clothes, maybe you can have toys as well, maybe you can have motors. Okay, or maybe computers too can work. Okay, now you can have utensils. All right, now this, okay, so this utensils, so the end supposed to be here. Okay, so we have the, now let's save this, and now let's go to product. So you can see here we have category ID, so that's the relationship, and this is acting as a foreign key, because when you go to category ID, it means the name that you have here, the number ID that you have here, you can pass it in over the product category ID here. You can see we have from 1 up to 6. So a product here may have 1 up to 6. So let's see. The first one is we have, let's say, HP laptop. Now the price is, let's say, 4.7. The category ID is under electronics. So let's search electronics is 1, so we can pass in 1 here. Now the next one is we can pass in maybe Benz. Now with this Benz is under motors, and we can talk of the price here. Okay, and the category ID for motors is what, 4, so we can pass in 4. Now the next one, let's use clothes, so we can pass in t-shirts. Okay, and now with this t-shirt, the price is 123, and now the category ID is 2, so 2. Now this, okay, so let's save this. So you can see we have this category ID here. Now in order to access or have access to the data from this, now instead of getting the ID, name and the price, when you get to the category, we want to go to this table and now fetch this name. Instead of displaying the ID, use the name instead. So how do we do this? In order to do this, we have to create our controller, and that is what we can actually use to perform that work. Okay, so let's create a controller here as product controller. So Solution Explorer. Now right click on the controllers and click on add new controller. Now this is going to be an API empty one, and I go to new. Now the name of this is going to be product controller. So product controller. Now let's add that. So in this controller, let's see what we can actually do over here to get the list of product. So first of all, we have to inject our AppDB context. So that's a connection class. So let's inject that, and we can create a constructor to use that. As you can see from here, this is product controller. So we can paste it here. So we create an object. This is the constructor. Then we pass in the method. We create an object out of it. That is a connection class. then we can now assign this over here. So we can use what we have assigned here as AppDB context. Okay, so let's try to get this. So let's use, we can call this method. So okay, so as you can see from here, we are now creating a public task, there's an action result, and then we are getting a list of products. The name is get. Now in here, let's store, so product is equal to, now we can use await, okay, then appdb context dot, now you can go for product. Okay, so as you can see from here, when you go to our appdb context class, so let's see, so product over here. Now when we go to our appdb context class, let's see what we can actually do here. So appdb context class, and that is in our data. So here we need to specify the categories over here. Now you see we are not having the category here, so let's specify this category first. So in the appdb, so here's supposed to be a categories, because you must have a categories, and there's supposed to be a category. Okay, so now once you're done with this, let's perform another migration. So let's go to our controller, and now in this, let's comment this first. Okay, so let's save this, and now let's perform migration again to correct that, because we've now added the next table, so CLS, and that is a add migration. So we can talk about correct table. So we wait for this to be done, then we can now update the database. So update database. So we wait what database is being updated to run the necessary queries by the EFCore. Alright, so done. Now let's see, we have a new name, categories, and the new name is what? Categories. Whoa, categories is wrong, but let's maintain this as it is. Okay, we can maintain this, don't worry. Okay, so now we have this in our appdb context class, and that's going to be, now you can see we have two tables. So you can see we have product table and a category table. Instead of this, supposed to be a category. So let's say categories. Okay, so if we save this, we must also perform another migration as well. So correct table categories. So it's going to also, any change that you made to this model, you have to update the migration. So update database to correct that in the database. So update it, and it's going to correct that from this category to categories that we have now specified. Okay, so let's see, now it is done. So you can see that we have a new name now as categories over here. Okay, so you can now close this, and now you can still close this. Okay, so let's activate this, and now product dot, so we can create this .toList async, so we can use this. Now let's save this, and now we can return this product. Okay, so now you are returning this product. So in this return this product, since we're using a controller here, we can decide to pass in an okay, then we pass in this to return this product, because this is going to have a status code of 200. Now let's save this, let's run this application, and let's see what we have now. We're going to have the whole list of products that we specified. So let's see. Now we have Swagger, the JSON error, response code is 500. So let's see what's happening over here. Okay, so let's see, now we are getting an async task action result. Then we proceed, we are getting a list of products, and this method as get, whereby we store the product into this product.toList async, then return okay with this product. Okay, so let's see, let's try to build the application again and see what we have now. So let's build the application. Solution Explorer, right click on this solution and now rebuild solution. Let's wait for it to build. Then we can now run the application again. So we wait. So once succeeded, now let's try to run this again. So fail to load API definition. So show errors and let's find it out. So you have this AppDB context from the base class. Start from that. Let's see a controller. That is where the point might come from. So controller base. This is AppDB context public. So you can see that this is our constructor. We inject it, and now we have this. Alright, so this is supposed to be a get method. So HTTP get, that is the verb get. Now let's save this and let's wait for the reload. And let's see. So let's save this again. Save this and let's see what's gonna happen. This is not reloading, so let's reload this manually. So save this. Let's see. Let's try to reload that and see. Okay, so now this is working. Now you see API get product. So let's click on try this out, executor, and let's see what we're going to have. So as you can see from down here, there is a schema that we have. So we're going to have an ID name, and check here. So you can see we have an ID as 1. We have name over here, price, and a category. But the category here, you can see we have here as null, and we have this ID as 1. So watch here, category ID as 1, this is 1, and category here is 4, and this is 2. Okay, so this means this product is under clothes, this product is under motors, this product is under electronics, yeah, or laptops or computers. Okay, so we can still create another product. Let's do that. So let's go to our product. There's a category. Now let's see if we can have a product table. So let's go back and right click. Let's go to view data, and now with this view data, we are having 1 HP, so we can still add Dell. So Dell laptop, and the price here is this. And now as you can see from here, it is under electronics, so you can add 1. It's going to work because it is 1 category to many products, and you see many products are having 1 category. Let's add 1 more. So this is going to be a round neck shirt, and the price is 45, and it's going to be under t-shirt, so ID has 2. Okay, let's save this, and now let's refresh and see what we have now. So let's refresh this. So product, get this out, execute this, and let's watch here. So you can see we have HP for electronic as category ID is 1. When you go to the laptop, the same category ID as 1. But how can we have this category name instead of adding a category ID? Can we also add a category name? Yes, we can. So we can do that by, let's go to our code. Now our controller. So in here we can add .include. Okay, so include, and we can pass in here C, so lambda expression C dot category. So let's go for this category, save this, and now let's refresh and see. So instead of having here as null, we can now specify, or we can get that value there, or the name of the product. So let's watch here while it's being executed. Now we have this as a cyclic. So as you can see from here, now this a possible object cycle was detected. So this can either be due to a cycle, or if the object depth is larger than the maximum allowed depth of 32. Now the reason why we are having this is when the data, what is the product, when the product tries to get the category, you can see when you go to category class 2, it also has a list of products, so it keeps on going. Now when you get to product, when it gets to category return it to the product. Now when you get to product, it has to come back to category and the same thing, because we have a connection in between. Now to stop that, let's go to a category here. So that's a category. What is a category model? So let's click on solution, category model, and now on top of this list here, we can now pass in EFCore.JSON or JSON ignore. Okay, now we are done with this. Let's save this and now let's reload, and this is going to take off this cyclic event. So product, now try this out, execute, and let's wait for it to render. So we see we have the ID as 1, name is as electronics, the same thing electronics over here, clothes here, t-shirt over here, as you can see. So we see that one category may have more products, and that's a one-to-many. So one category, that is electronics, is having 2 products here. So this is electronics, this is also electronics for their laptop and for HP laptop. So one category is having multiple products. So that's a one-to-many, okay, or many-to-one relationship. Let's see, let's talk about the one-to-one. Now with one-to-one, it is quite simple. Okay, let's go to our code, and now the one-to-one, we're going to create another class, and that's going to be size. Okay, so this one-to-one, we're going to have size of it. So let's create a class in our model, and that's going to be size. So add this class, and our name here is going to be maybe size. So size. Now in size model, let's copy this, and we also establish the relationship here. So what you can see, we are also using JSON ignore from this size. Now we are going for, so there is 1. So because as soon as we bring in list, it means you're having a list. Now this is 1. Okay, so one-to-one. So one of these we are calling for a product. So it means one size item must, or one size property must match to one product. Now when we are done, we have to go to the product and also initiate, call this size over there. So let's go to the product, and I'll add the size. So we see from here there is 1. When you go to product, it is also 1. So 1 in product here. When you go to size, it is also 1. So that is 1-to-1. Now this whole property represents one entity, or that is a one product or one category. So when this load once, it is only 1, and now we are matching this 1 to this product. So 1-to-1. It is not like the category, whereby in category here we specify a list of products here. Here we are saying that this one product may have one size. That is simple. Okay, so let's also let's add this to a model, and now in a AppDB context we have to add the size. So we copy this, and we can now add the size. So we know it at sizes. Now let's perform migration, so we can actually add some size over here. Okay, so when you go to product here, as you can see, we have size, and now when you come to the size, we have product over here, because we have product ID. So one product ID is going to have one size. Let's perform migration. So add migration, create size table, create sizes table. So we wait for the migration to be performed, and aside from this, we have to update the database. So update database. Now once it's been updated, you can go to Object Explorer. Now you can refresh this, refresh our table, and I'm going to see the sizes table. So let's open that, open view data, and I can see we have product ID. So this size is SM. Okay, now this SM, and the product ID is 1, and we may have XL, product ID as 2, and we may have MD, product ID is 3, and then we have SSL, product ID is 4, and XX, extra large, product ID is 5. Now how many products we have? 5 products. So each is 1, and that is known as 1-to-1. So one product must have one size. One product can never have what, 2 sizes. So one product, one size. Good. Now let's save this. Now when we run this, let's see what we can actually do here. So in our controller, when you try to refresh this and click on product, try this out, execute. Now let's see what we have now. So watch here. Now you can see we have ID as 1, name over here, price, category ID, and name. And now you can see we have category ID. The size here is now. Okay, size here is now. Now size, all of them, their size are now. So how do you do it? We have to include that. Now you can see from it's 1-to-1. So one product, one size. One product, one size. One product can never have 2 sizes. Okay, so that's a 1-to-1 relationship. So in order to do that, we can go to our controller, and now in here, instead of this include, okay, so let's go to the next one, and now with this, we can still go to .include. And now since we are going for size, we can pass in S, and which maps to S dot, and that's going to be size. And let's bring this here. Let's save this. Let's go to our page. Now let's wait for it to reload. And because you're going to have the size being added to the project. So let's say execute. Let's see what we have. So good. You can see we have ID over here. Name is HP laptop. This is the price. This is the category information. So you can see category ID and category name. Now when you come to this category ID, and this is the size. So the size is what? Small. And it is for product ID 1. So this is the product ID 1. And this is the product ID over here. And the size here is small. So this is the size ID, as you can see from here. This is the size ID. Okay. Now when you go to the next one, you see we have the name bench. And you see we have this category info over here. Okay. And the category ID is 4 over there. Now this category ID is 4 because as you can check from this, the ID here is 4. Now when you go to size, we have size ID is 2, and it is XL, and the product that it is matching to is product ID 2, and that is the motors. So as you can see, so this you see 1 1 1 1 1. One product may not have 2 sizes. I believe this is clear. Now let's tackle the many-to-many relationship, and that's going to be the third relationship that we're going to work on. Now with this many-to-many, we want to actually focus on colors. So let's add a class known as color. So let's go to code, models, and right click on the models. Now let's add a color to this. So add a class, and now the name is going to be color. So color. Okay. So in this color, let's see what we can pass in here. Let's paste this. Okay. So we use JSON ignore to pass or to just run out of that cyclic error that you're going to have. Now check here. So we are having a list of products. So meaning that a list of products may have one color. A list of products may have what? One color. Now when we go to our product 2, let's see what we can do at the product. So now we know that a list of products may have one color. Now let's go to our product as well. So there is our product, product model. And now this is what you want to do. We paste this here. So this is also saying that a list of products may have what? A list of colors. Now this list, and when you go to the product tool, it is also list. When you go to color, it is list here, and then product, it is list. So list to list, so it means many to many. Now many products can have many colors. Many colors can have many products. Okay, now let's save this and let's go to our AppDB context and create our table. So you can now copy this and you can paste one here. Now instead of the color, we are going to be, can pass here as colors. Okay, let's save this. Let's perform migration. So you can say create not sizes table but rather colors table. So add migration, supposed to be correct, supposed to be create colors table. Now done. So let's update database. So update database, and now what is being updated? Now this field. So let's see why it failed. Oh, okay. Let's try again and see. So update using Microsoft. Let's try that. So create colors table. Now let's try it again and see. So update database, and so let's see. Now let's go to the this. We have this error here. Oh, okay. So we have to delete that. There was an error in this, so let's delete this. Okay, now let's try to run this again. So create colors table. So let's see. So create colors table. Now build started, and let's see what's gonna happen. So build succeeded. So let's see. All right, so it is done, as you can see from here. Now let's update database. Update database, and let's see. So build succeeded. Okay, so it is done now. Now let's go to SQL object, and now let's refresh our application. So refresh it and open database and open EFCore relationships, tables, and now you can see we have, do we have colors here? Let's refresh table and see. So category, product, and sizes. So we are not having colors here, so we must have color here. Let's see. Now we have color over there. So this color, we have ID, name, and list of this. Now when we go to our AppDB context, we have DB set color as colors. Okay. All right, and let's try to refresh this again. So we are not having these colors. Let's refresh the whole database. If not, then we have to add migration, expand table. We don't have this, so let's see. So create table 1. Let's see if it's going to use this color class. Okay, so here nothing happens here. So let's try to update again and see. Update database, and let's see what we're gonna have now. So there's already an object name as categories in the database. Okay, so let's see if it worked. Let's refresh this. Database, EFCore, let's open that. Now tables, and we have that. So what we're going to do here, we have to delete a database. So let's delete this database. Alright, so let's delete this database. So we close all connections, and because we want to have the color table created. And now let's delete our models. That's a migration, so click on delete. Let's delete the migrations. So let's wait and close this. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, now let's perform migration again. So add migration initials, and now let's run this again to see. This is going to create the tables for us. Let's update it. So update database, and this will run all the queries that we need to create all the 4 or 3 tables. So now it is performing the magic. Now it is done. So let's go in there, refresh this, or expand database, EFCore relationships, tables, and you're going to have all the tables here. So sizes, product, colors, and categories. Okay, so as you can see from here, we have DBO, color, product. So now let's try to pass in data. So view data. Now the category, this is what we're going to do. So the first one here is electronics. Second one here we have clothes. Okay, and let's say we have motors. Let's maintain this, we save that. And the next one is, let's add product first. So now this is the product. We have products here already. Now let's say sizes. So now we have size already. Here we have. And now let's see. Now with the colors, let's view data and add a color in the name. So color, we have red, we have pink, we have maybe yellow, and we have black. Okay, we have maybe gold, and we have indigo. So indigo, and we have blue, we have sea blue. Okay, so we have all these colors. Now you can now save them. Now the next one is we have to go in and set up the relationship. So let's go to dbo.color and product. So we specify view data, and now in here, so color ID is 1, product ID is 1 to 5. So let's see, no row in the product ID. So product ID is, we have product IDs. Product ID as 1, we have 2. Okay, so let's check it again. So products, refresh this, and view this data. So ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, let's close this. And so we are seeing the data row not committed, error. We have this, the foreign key constraint. So color ID. Let's see what we can actually do here. Alright, so we have to close the existing one and open new one. So the same thing applies to this category. You have to close this, and now you have to open new category, because now we've performed migration. So view data, so that is over here, as you can see. So with the product, let's say we have to pass in the product into this. So ID 1, and the name of the product is t-shirt, and price is 12, and ID is 2, I think. So when we go to category, that is 2. Okay, let's add 1. So round neck, the price is 45, and the ID is 2. So HP laptop, the price is 147, and it is 1. So Dell laptop, price is 359, and it is 1. So this, we have banks over here, and price is this, and it is 3. Let's see, for category we have up to 3, so let's add one more, and this is going to be so Toyota, and it is this, and the price is 3 as well for electronics. Let's save this, and now with the category, so product color 1, color ID is 1, product ID is 1, color ID is 2, product ID is 2, color ID is 3, product ID 3, color ID 4, product ID 4, color ID 5, product ID 5. Now the products, they are up to 5, so color ID 6, product ID 1, ID 7, product ID 2. Now how many colors do we have? So we have up to 8, so we have up to 8, and now we can now pass in up to 8. Let's see, so we have 8, now 7 to the last one, color ID 8, product ID 3. Okay, so we can go for color ID 1, product ID 4, color ID 2, product ID 5, color ID 1, product ID 6, no, color ID is supposed to be 3, product ID 6, color ID 4, product ID 7, and okay, you don't have product ID 7, so you have product ID 6. Okay, you have 6 here, so we can add some of it to the table, so we can add 6 again. Now color ID 5, color ID 4, color ID 6, ID 3, then ID 7, ID 2, then we have product ID 4, product ID 2, let's see, 1. Okay, so now let's save this. Okay, and now let's go to our controller. Now you haven't made it too many, so you can see with color ID 1 has been used in product ID 1, product ID 1 over here. Okay, so product ID 1 is having color ID 1, 1, and 1. So let's say let's set up this one as well. Okay, and now this 2. So as you can see, with color ID 2 has been used as product ID 2, and 2 is over here, is for ID 5, and now we have one more. Can we have one more? So 2 and for 2. Okay, so let's see, not committed, so let's set up to 5, ID 5, ID 1. Okay, now let's see what we have now in our controller. So now let's refresh. Okay, so we have to build application first. So run this to build application. Now let's see what we have now. So products, we can now expand that and execute it. So if you can see from here, we have the category ID, size, and color. So this is giving us a list. Now let's see. So we see we have ID, name, price. This is the category info, category ID 2. We have size over here as now, and we have color over here as well. Okay, so let's include the various. Now let's see with the size. So do you have size here? Let's go to the table, and now let's open view data. Let's close this, and now let's open the size again. Let's refresh this. Now let's open this size again. So this size, we have SM, product ID 1, and this is MD, product ID 2. This is XL, product ID 3. This is XXL, product ID 4. This is XXLL, product ID 5. Okay, then we have, okay, so that is 5 products. So we save this, and now let's see. So let's refresh this, and you can see from here, since it is 1-to-1, we can have one product, one size. So one product, this is a t-shirt product. Okay, now the size is small. As you can see from here, size is small. Now this size here is what? Medium. But if we talk about colors here, because the colors are null, so let's include the colors as well. So when you go to our controller, that is it. Where is it? That is it. So in here we can still add colors, so dot, and you can use this include, and now colors, so we can pass in c dot colors. Now we save this. Okay, now let's refresh and see what we have now. So we wait for the refresh to be done. Now when it gets refreshed, now instead of having the color size as now, we're going to have an array or a list of colors related to a particular product. So let's see what we have here. Okay, so as you can see from it, this ID1, the name is t-shirt, this is the price, this is a category. Now you have category over here. Okay, so this category here, it is one to many. Category ID is 2. Now when you come to size, it is 1 to 1. This SM is related to only this ID1 of t-shirt, 1 to 1. Now when you come to colors, it is an array. As you can see, it's an array over here, and we can see we have 1, 2, 3, so red, gold, and indigo for t-shirts. Now when you come to ID2, we have blue, pink, and red, and it is the size here, it is what? Medium for this, and it is category ID2. Now the next one here, this laptop, we have yellow, indigo, and sea blue, and that's the category ID of what? 3. And you can see with 4, we have what? Red, black, and gold. Now the Benz, you can see we have what? Pink, gold only. Now Toyota, we have yellow and black. Okay, so you can see that this one is mapped to many. That's why you can see we have a list. So now yellow here, as you can see, let's go back. Now you can see this blue or this pink, this red can be used twice. In this we have red here, we have red over here. Okay, so it means it is many to many. Now many products can be assigned to many colors, and many colors can be assigned to many products. I believe this is clear. Alright, so today we've talked about all the 3 relationships. That is the one-to-one, one-to-many, or many-to-one, and the last one is many-to-many. I'll leave this source code at the description below, and that's going to link up to your GitHub. You can just go in there and grab these source codes, and you can now watch on it. If you haven't any error in it, you can debug that. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for being part of this video and watching as well, and hopefully I'm going to see you in the next video to talk about the next one or next interesting topic as well.